morning, friends. I have an admission to make to everyone here. I struggle with the feast of the Transfiguration. No, I do not deny that our Lord was revealed as the Son of God and that God's glory came down on that mountain. But what I do struggle with is what we have in our scriptures. Because to no one's surprise here, likely, I have a vivid imagination. And I struggle to imagine what today's gospel story might have looked like. Because what are the words of Matthew to describe the Transfiguration? Jesus' clothes were as bright as light, his face shone like the sun, and he was with Moses and Elijah. I don't know what Moses and Elijah look like. I know that looking into the sun is bad for your eyes. You either close your eyes or you go blind, so I choose the option of closing my eyes. And his clothes are as bright as light. I find that difficult to imagine. And I also find it extraordinarily difficult to imagine what God's glory might look like in a physical form. But I think most importantly, what I struggle with today and with these scriptures is the fact that most of us gathered here probably are not experiencing the utter joy of God's glory in our day-to-day lives. We're probably not experiencing God's glory. What of those who are struggling with their health or have just received the medical diagnosis? Struggling spiritually? What of those who are grieving the loss of a loved one or a friend? What of those who are embroiled in the throes of addiction? What of those who are unhappy at work? Or what of those who struggle at home with family or friendships? Because to say, oh, God's glory will be revealed eventually might not feel like it's enough. So I want to return to the frame of today's gospel story from Matthew. It's easy to overlook what might be said, but what our evangelist says this morning is that Jesus took Peter, James, and John and led them up a high mountain. Father Dave, you'll be proud of me. He went up Mount Tabor, which according to Google is 636 feet up in the air. And you've climbed Mount Tabor, haven't you? That's not an easy hike, is it? It's very steep, very rocky. Probably took a few hours. And at the end of the Transfiguration, after God's glory has been revealed, Jesus leads them down the mountain. It's easy to get caught up in the fact that God's glory is revealed on top of Mount Tabor, and it is in a profound and new way that this is my beloved Son, listen to him. But don't miss the fact that Jesus, that same Son of God, travels up the mountain and down the mountain with the disciples. I'll say that again. Jesus, God with a human face and a human heart, Emmanuel, God with us, travels up and down the mountain. Now you might be asking, okay, why this focus on mountains? Great question, camper. I have an answer for you. I think it's a lens into spiritual life, our relationship with God. Because I think there's 4 places we might feel like in our relationship with God. We might feel like we're on top of the mountain, in transfigured glory, that the glory of God is alive and shining through my prayer and relationship with God and with others. Thanks be to God if you feel there. I use the example of couples who are married. Remember your wedding day. How joyful was that? Which your love being a glorious example of Christ's love for us in a manifest and real way. That's a transfiguration moment where God's glory is revealed through the love of a couple. Or, the second place, you might feel like you're climbing up the mountain with Jesus and the disciples, waiting for our Lord, asking our Lord, Lord, reveal your glory to me. I'm waiting for you to answer my prayer. I want to be closer to you. I want you to reveal your presence to me. God is there too, and God's glory is there and presence. The third might feel like we're going down the mountain. After a transfiguration moment, this moment of God's glory, I use the example of couples who have gone on a honeymoon. You're living into that transfiguration glory. We're married. There's this real physical presence of our Lord present in this marriage. But what happens when you get back from your honeymoon? You go back to reality, don't you? You go back to the mundane, to your job, to your family, and to your friends. Is God's glory there? Absolutely it is. Or the fourth, we might feel like we're in a valley or a pit. That we're begging God to hear our prayer, that we don't feel the Lord's love or belovedness for us. Is God's glory there? Absolutely it is. See, God's glory and presence is not limited to a mountaintop or a transfiguration experience. It is with us in every aspect of our lives, seeking to encounter us and to lead us forward in love and belovedness. God's love leads us closer, and God's glory is revealed in every aspect of our lives, no matter where we feel like we are. And don't miss Jesus' first words in the gospel today. It's only in Matthew's gospel. He sees the disciples prostrate in almost fear and awe. And he says, "Rise, do not be afraid." How gorgeous is that? And that's what our Lord says to us wherever we're at in our relationship with God. Rise and do not be afraid. I think of my own journey here for the past year. It's been a transfiguration moment for me where you have revealed God's presence and glory to me. I gotta go back to school. Yes, I want to go back to seminary, but no, I don't want to take 8 classes. But what does our Lord say to me? Jeffrey, rise and do not be afraid. My glory and presence is with you wherever you go. Come down the mountain. Or to the person who is struggling with addiction, God has not abandoned them, but God says, rise and do not be afraid. My glory is with you. I love you. The person who feels like they're stuck at work, waiting for a response to where they should go in life, our Lord also says, rise and do not be afraid. I am with you. My glory is with you. Or to the parents who have young children, the children probably don't thank you for everything that you do for them. Our Lord also says, rise and do not be afraid. I am with you. My dear sisters and brothers, take joy in the journey that is this life. That is your relationship and my relationship with God. The Lord seeks to nourish us, and He does. Every single day at Eucharist is a transfiguration moment where God's glory and presence is revealed in an awesome way in the Word, in the sacrament, in the priest, and among all of us gathered here. God's presence shines through you, and we are fed here so that we might know how beloved we are. So, sisters and brothers, hear our Lord say this morning, rise and do not be afraid, my child. I am with you.